you saw my last vlog, you will know that I am out of action this week because I'm on bed rest after having surgery. I am 4 days into that, 10 days of bed rest, and I'm going crazy. I have to do something. So I decided to go onto my Pinterest and put a little inspiration board together of 1950s pieces that I just love. And I'm going to attempt to make as many of them as I can with this time. Let's do some sewing. I've already started a pair of pants inspired by these images here of Pinterest, particularly the Bridget Bardot outfit. I'm waiting for a ballpoint needle to arrive because my needle cannot handle the stretchiness of this fabric. And those pedal pushers, capris, clam diggers, they're a short pant that I'm actually using the bottom half of a jumpsuit pattern that I previously made. I'll link the video up above, and I just love the fit of them, so I'm just not going to do the top section. I'm going to add a waistband and hopefully I'll end up with a lovely pair of pants. I also want to remake this pattern here into another halter top because I wear the heck out of the other one that I made. I love it. This was inspired by this amazing halter dress that Jane Russell wears in several photos and by a bunch of other halter neck 50s dresses, but I really love that silhouette. And the last pattern, I'm torn. I don't know if I'm going to do a dress or a skirt or another top. I have a few patterns that I can choose from. There is something I've been wanting to make for a while, and it is some Joan Collins 1950s short shorts. These are iconic, and if I can find a good pattern, we might have to go with that. I got this cobalt blue fabric off of Vinted quite a while ago and I loved it. I love the color. I love these little like flecked abstract patterns all over it. For me, it really screamed atomic, and I have been racking my brains what to turn it into for ages, and here we are turning it into the halter neck top again. I may even have enough material to make a skirt, so I'm considering whether or not to make a matching top and skirt set that I can wear and it will look like a dress. We have success. Here she is all laid out. The skirt design is a like one-piece design. It's supposed to have no seams, like it's supposed to be one whole piece and you just sew it in one spot. But I don't have enough fabric to cut her on the fold. So I'm just gonna leave a seam allowance and attach the two pieces together at the front, and she'll have a seam down the front. And you're gonna be so proud of me, guys, but I am about to wash my fabric. I know. It's really super duper hot here. We're having a canicule, a heat wave here in France. So if I wash cotton, it is gonna be dry within half an hour, easy.
So once the material was dry, I set about cutting out my pattern pieces, getting my machine set up, and I put my darts in place and I ironed down my seam allowances just to help make sure everything runs really smoothly. Of course, all of this is supervised by my little shadow, Louie.
My compression socks are killing me. It is so hot. We're having the biggest heat wave at the moment. We have the aircon on, but obviously I have lights for filming, and with compression socks that come up to here on both legs, oh my lord. The skirt is almost done. I have a packet of zips arriving tomorrow that should give me all the colors I need for every one of the projects, and I'll be able to finish her up completely. So I'm pretty happy with that. Like basically the skirt will be done today because I'll do the waistband tonight. I've already cut out the top that matches this skirt, so I feel like today I made really good progress. I'm really happy with that, and hopefully my ballpoint needle arrives in the mail before the end of today, and then I'll be able to also finish the trousers, which if I can get the needle to go through the fabric, should be a very fast project to finish because it's the third time that I've done that project and it was already a very quick, easy one, but I'm already over a quarter of the way through everything, and I'm super excited, guys, because I've made less than 10 things ever, so I do not have a lot of experience, but it just goes to show that you shouldn't be intimidated by vintage sewing, because honestly I think it is harder to sew some modern stuff, not because the patterns are more difficult, but because you're using a lot of stretch fabrics. Just because patterns have a lot of pieces when they're vintage doesn't necessarily mean that they're hard. So don't be afraid to try. Let me be an example to you guys that really and truly, once you get through the first kind of 3 projects, they might be long, they might be tedious, you might make a lot of mistakes, but after that it gets way easier and actually very fast to make your own pieces. So keep going. I was just getting the halter neck top pattern out of my box of patterns and I spotted this baby. Have been looking for this scoop neck style with the big skirt for a Bridget Bardot style dress. I'm thinking of making like a video about sewing Bridget Bardot's casual wardrobe. Let me know if you'd like to see that video. There is also, I'm not sure if it's going to be a jumpsuit or whether it's a top and shorts. Looking on the back here, I think it is a top and shorts. So I could also maybe make that blouse. We love options, and of course it means I don't have to cut anything out. I've definitely decided I'm gonna make the top. I love how cute it is and it does look pretty simple. And I have this material for the shorts. This is actually from a piece I got sent by a company many years ago that I loved the top half of the dress from, but I hated the bottom, so I chopped it off and made this little peasant blouse, and I have the rest of the dress left, but it has these cute little angels all over it. So I'm thinking I'm gonna make this into a pair of 1950 shorts that has a little like bow gathering on the side that like pulls the sides of the shorts up. Looks really cute. And then to match the like greeny colors in this, I have another vintage material that I might turn into this top here. So I'll show you the material as I cut it out. I'm also going to need some bias binding to go around and make a little bow on the front as well. So I've just ordered white. There's like so many different colors available on the internet, but I think because the top has so much going on pattern wise and the shorts have got a white backdrop, I'm just going to go with a very simple white bias binding tape that hopefully, if I can believe what they're telling me on here, will arrive tomorrow. Hi, so today I have styled my stockings rococo just to entertain myself because I'm getting very sick of wearing them. It's very hot and very sweaty and not very fun. I have zippers and bias tape arriving in the mail today, which means I should be able to tackle that project. I'm gonna try again to tackle my stripy clam diggers that I'm making with this material because it was all going well with the new ballpoint needle. My new ballpoint needle just arrived and I just tried it on a scrap of the material. We had a little whoopsie here, but otherwise she is working. And I did order two because I ordered like a pack of needles that are just a variety of different needles. Like it has a twin needle, it has jeans needle, it has two types of stretch needles. But every about 10 stitches it's missing a zigzag stitch and just doing like a weird straight stitch, which I'm assuming means it's just not connecting with the bottom thread. And then about every 20 stitches it just breaks the top thread altogether. I've played around with the tension. I obviously have changed the needle and I can't change the presser foot pressure on my machine. It's not an option for me, which is like the #1 thing that seems to be recommended on the internet. So that's great. And I just want to wear these pants. This should have been the easiest project and it's turning out to be the hardest of the whole lot. Typical. My friend Lizzie, aka Miss Lillian Love, who has sewed such wonderful items as this, recommended that I try tissue paper, of which I happen to have an abundance. So I have folded it along the seam and pinned it in place, and I'm going to try and see if this helps the needle catch better and the thread not break. No missed stitches, no broken thread. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Okay, we have a pedal pusher / clam digger progress update. As usual, I've put the zipper in the wrong side. It's supposed to technically be on this side, but I always do it when it's inside out and then I get confused and put it in the wrong side. But you know, in the end, it zips up. Yeah, so I have to put darts in her. And I didn't want to do that at the beginning because the darts were up high through the waist for the jumpsuit. So I wanted to wait till I got to this point to figure out where they should go. And then I've got to put the zipper in and just hem the bottom of them and she will be done. My big package of zippers arrived in the post. So I now have a reasonably close zipper color. It's not perfect, but there was 2 blues that could have worked in there and neither of them are quite right. So we're going to go with this one. So I'm going to install that and that will be at least one project done. First item is finished. She is a little bit baggy here. I've already tried putting some elastic in here to try and just cinch that little bit together. But the elastic that I have is like super, super thin, and so it just doesn't have enough grunt to like... So I'm going to have to order a little bit more, but I don't mind that I'm going to have to use elastic because it does make her a little bit more forgiving, as she is a stretch fabric. So, you know, if I go out to lunch or whatever, these will be the comfy pants that I can wear. Hi, I forgot to film. Just finished the waistband on this skirt and put the zipper in. And I'm gonna start working on the top.
The first step in that process being marking the darts and sewing them in place.
Okay, so the top is coming together. She has all of her darts in place, and I've sewed between the bust and the back of the halter neck. So now I just have to attach the midriff and the back section, and then do all her edgings and she'll be done. Fine, I'll clean my mirror.
After that satisfying interlude, I sewed the midriff onto the top. And then I tried it on to check where the hemline should go and where I should place the buttons before sewing it down.
Just for fun, I wanted to see how ridiculously over the top kitsch the combination of this top with these pants is, because technically the dark blue stripe in the pants is the exact same color as what's in the top, but it is a lot of pattern. But like, I'm honestly not averse to a whole lot of pattern clashing. I have done an Instagram poll to see whether or not people think this is a disgusting combination or whether you can get away with it. I do think that the white socks might be making it difficult to come to any kind of conclusion, because they're really not a vibe with this. So I'm up to putting the buttons on the back of the top, which I completely forgot about. So when I asked my lovely followers on Instagram what button I should use, and they chose the pearly white one, that would result in the buttons on the skirt not matching the buttons on the top. So I'm very sorry, but I will be using the only buttons that I have a matching set of, which is the blue ones with the diamante on them, which are these ones here. If you are of the religious inclination, please pray for me. And if you are spiritual, please manifest for me. And if you're none of those things, please just get your hopes up as high as possible for me that the buttonhole foot on my machine can handle the strip of material on the back of the top, because it is quite big. I don't see why it would be any kind of issue, but it does love to just refuse to do anything and ruin my projects and cover them with a big knot of thread. So please, 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 please. So just for a bit of fun, it randomly decided to make the buttonhole far smaller than the setting I put. So I'm thinking the best course of action is just to continue to make the buttonholes with this sizing and find different buttons. That was a lovely story about what I should have done, but instead I unpicked that previous too small hole and redid it, and it turned out really well. I literally just cheated and pulled the buttonhole measurer thing at the back out some more and tested it on some other fabric first to check that the button would go through. And then my machine behaved itself and did the same thing on the project as it did on the test for like the first time ever. So we have 3 buttonholes, and now I just have to sew the buttons on.
Which I did mindfully, very demure, whilst making dinner and watching Makara Truers, just to make myself feel inadequate.
We are 4 days in, and I'm honestly shocked by how much I have achieved in that time. So now I have set myself an arbitrary time limit of finishing all of these projects in 7 days, but I'm secretly hoping it will be 5 days. So I really should be prioritizing doing the blouse and the shorts, but instead I'm going to do something that is completely unnecessary and largely unrelated to this project.
Actually, on second thoughts, I think we can all probably agree that this was in fact absolutely 100% necessary.
Okay, so now that that is done, I can concentrate on finishing my own projects. I was gonna do the shorts, but it turns out that we have not got enough paper for me to print them out. It's the only project that I'm doing where I need to print and stick together all the pages. So we're gonna go to the shops later tonight and I will pick up paper then. So in the meantime, I'm gonna be doing the blouse, the sleeveless blouse, which is a pre-cut true vintage pattern. So shouldn't be any issues there.
And so yet again, I scrabbled around on the floor, pinning vintage pattern pieces in place.
This material is somewhat interesting. As you can see, it has a combination of flowers, bamboo, hunting parties, equestrian riders, pagodas, and what I think are Shaolin warriors. That of course makes complete sense. When I first got this machine, I bought a multicolored pack of thread off of Amazon that was very cheap and I thought was probably going to be really crappy. But I always have the exact right color of thread. Okay, I did cut her out ever so slightly, like 3/4 of a centimeter bigger all the way around the edge because it was a 32-inch bust and I'm a 34-inch bust, and I think we're gonna be okay. I am gonna sew her just with that seam allowance and keep your fingers crossed that that goes okay. But I think with the pinning of this side, it is all looking pretty good so far. So I'm gonna sew the seams and just hope to God that it still fits afterwards. Okay, I am up to putting the zipper in. I've chosen a white zipper because I don't have a green zipper that matches, and she will be getting white bias tape all the way around her edges to finish off the neckline, the armpits, and the bottom of her. So I figure that's okay, and I'll be sewing her in a way that you can only just barely see the center of the zipper on the side. Anyway, I can't decide whether I want with the bias tape to sew it down with a white thread so it's practically invisible and you just see the bias tape, or whether I want to keep using the same green thread that matches the color of the top so that you have the white bias tape with the green thread as a little contrast. So I've put it up for an Instagram poll and we shall see what the masses say. Good morning. I have just fitted the zipper on her. I'm obsessed with the fit on this. I really like it. I was just filming my ass. I will absolutely 100% be making this pattern again. Okay, so the instructions are somewhat difficult for me to understand. It might just be me, this might make complete sense to you, but it says for the neck edge, with right sides together, right, so the pattern facing inwards, pin a bias binding strip to neck edge having raw edges even. I'm assuming they mean the raw edges of the bias binding. Ease bias as it is pinned, okay. Stitch in 1/4 seam, turn bias to inside over edge, turn under 1/4 inch on raw edge, slip stitch over seam. I think the issue is that these days bias binding comes in the package already having been ironed so that it's basically quite wide and it's folded 3 times so that both edges are turned in and then it's folded in half to kind of make it easier for you to edge things and not have to fiddle around. And this is instructing me how to do it the way that it used to come. My grandma had bias binding and it was just like a ribbon. So I'm going to do it the modern way because otherwise I would just be making it harder for myself for literally no reason. And I'm not going to be slip stitching. I think they want it to be invisible on the front, which is why they're asking me to slip stitch. But I want to be able to machine wash this top because every other part of it is machine washable. So I'm actually going to be top stitching with the green thread, which is what everyone on Instagram voted for, and I like the idea of the contrasting thread, so I will just be doing that, which will be much quicker and easier.
Doing it the modern way involves pinning the raw edge to the inside and stitching that down before folding it back over. It's kind of obvious when you get the bias tape in hand, and then top stitching that down.
This looks so good, you guys were so right. Look at that edging with the little green thread on it. It's so, so cute. I obviously have to do the back now and the armholes and the bottom, but it's going very well. Okay, it's looking so cute with the bias binding around the edges. I'm obsessed. I'm going to use this on like every project now, but I have to do the bottom, and the project itself says just to hem the bottom. It would look so cute with the bias tape coming around it, but I'm concerned when I tuck it in, which is probably the most common way I'm going to wear it. If I'm being honest, I might occasionally with something cute wear it out, but I always tuck everything in. So I'm worried if it has bias tape on it, it's going to look bulky underneath and you will see it through if I wear it with white shorts, which is exactly what I'm making it to go with. So I have put it up for an Instagram vote and only 18 people have voted so far, and everyone has said just to hem it. So we're just gonna hem it. And she's finished. I think she turned out so cute. Like I said, I will definitely make this again. The fit is incredible. Yeah, really happy. And the vote was totally right. It actually looks really cute with the bottom not bias taped, so. I'm back after a few days hiatus. I had another medical drama and ended up in emergency. I'm okay. It was just extreme hypertension. I was a little worried that it might be a stroke or a pulmonary embolism, given that I had had surgery the week before, but it was not. I am completely fine. There's no drama there. Well, I'm not completely fine. I have high blood pressure problems and we have no idea why, but I have an amazing GP looking after me who's sent me to see a specialist very soon. And we will be working out the problem. So that is really positive. It is 4, maybe 5 days later, and I am back to sewing, and I have started on my shorts project with the angel print. So I've just sewn the front seam together, you can see, and I'm about to put the darts in. Because the material for this was actually the bottom half of an old dress, if you remember from the beginning of the video, I did have to Frankenstein a bit because the main part of the pattern took up the whole piece of fabric basically. So I've sewn together, Frankenstein together, a bunch of offcuts, a part of the hem, and on the end I've attached the pockets of the dress in order to create the waistband piece. But you know, I don't really care. I often wear belts, and even if I don't think it's gonna look that bad if there's a few extra seams in the waistband, like whatever. I figure at least I'm not wasting fabric that way. Starting to look like a pair of shorts. I've just sewn the crotch in place. Voila. So now I have to do the sides and put the waistband on, and then I have to start tackling these bows. Oh, bye. Louis is just exiting the building.
After Louis stormed out, I fitted the waistband and sewed it down. And then I went about inserting the leg facings.
It is getting late and I'm getting tired, but progress has been made. I have done one side of the leg. We're getting nice and close so you can see she has an interfacing like this, and then I've stitched over the top with the same green thread that I used to do the bias tape and the whole of the top, but on the white of the bias tape. So you'll have that little contrasting stitch. The zipper is in. The other leg is done. I just have to do her little bows, which I'm going to do in the material of the top. We're so close to the end at this point. I'm managing so far to do this within 7 days, so I'm very proud of that fact. Let's see if we can just whip out this last part without any hiccups. I have my little bow bits here. Simply have to fold them in half and sew around them, flip them inside out, and then knot them on. It's a very simple process.
In technical terms, you need to zig and zag, then wiggle this around and poke that thing up there. Wiggle, waggle, pokey-do. And then waggle that at the camera before tying it in place.
Here they are, finished and on. I think they look really cute. I'm getting nice and close for you guys so you can see with their little bows on the side. They're a little on the baggy side, but I think that's the style, and I think they're designed that way because you do them up with the bows. But they are very comfortable, I will give them that.
I'm not gonna lie, I am so dang proud of this one. I think it looks so much like the Jane Russell dress. So much more than I could have imagined. So yeah, and I did end up wearing this to Goodwood Revival. If you guys have seen that video, I'll link it up above. This one as well, I'm really pleased with how this turned out. It's not quite as tight fitting as the ones that Joan Collins is wearing, but I think they turned out really cute. I'm so happy with these. And this outfit I have honestly worn a ton of times since making it. Yes, the shorts are a little bit baggier than the Joan Collins ones, but they are really comfortable, super versatile, and I love it. I think it's adorable. What do you think of the outfits, guys? I would love to hear your thoughts. Are you sewing any cool projects at the moment? I would love to hear in the comments down below. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video. Bye!